Hello, Plastic Model Builders. It is Ari Stone, your host with Plastic Model Builder, and this is part 4 of our P-51 Mustang 3 model build. We are going to paint our propeller tips in this video. We are going to paint some stripes in this video for invasion stripes, and we are going to paint some yellow tips, and we are also going to do some foiling. So what you see here, we are starting with our propeller tips, basing them with white. Yellow loves to adhere to white paint, so that's what we're doing. It gives it a wonderful tone to it. This is the invasion stripes. I painted everything bare metal first, or at least in aluminum color. This is the Revell 1/32 P-51. It has invasion stripes in it, so you can see we're going all along the body here. I took some measurements. They were a little off in some spots, but I did the best I could because I felt the measurements in the plane were off ever so slightly. So we're doing a light coat of white first, and then we follow that up with a darker coat of white, which you see on the final result here. And you see a little bit of overspray that it got on the plane where the tape used to be and then where the overspray is. So here's what the invasion stripes look like. Remember, you also have to spray a little bit on the bottom of the wheels. So once the invasion stripe white is on, we're going to paint olive drab on all 3 of these models. This right here is the Airfix kit. We do the entire nose, as you can see right here, that I masked off in an olive drab color. Then this right here is the P-51 Mustang for Revell, the 1/48 kit that we are doing in foil. So the front nose gets olive drab. Notice I don't have all the foil down yet. There's a reason for that. And then this right here is the nose for the 1/32 P-51B. You get the nose, you get the tail section here, front and top of that. More olive drab on this plane than anything. Got my invasion stripes covered up there, as you can see. Just take your time with this. Make it look pretty. Give it some model making madness. So make sure you get the entire tail, top and bottom, and then a little bit on the other side. We're going to show you that soon right there. Just the underside of that a little bit, and the last portion of the tail. That's what you need to do, and you see the bottom there, say separate. So we're going to give it one more coat on each one, bring out that tone of color, make it look pretty again. Remember, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. We also do our live chats. I've got my Facebook group that I have, which is Plastic Model Builder, as well as a page. And pretty soon we are going to have a website as well, so you can look at that. These are the cannons for the Airfix kit. And you see this is what the invasion stripes look like before I crack the middle of the plane all the way down to the tail. You don't see that in this video though, however. You might not even see that on any video. I might not show it, but you might see it. This is what the striping looks like right here on the Airfix kit. And then we will have the Revell kit right there. There's all 3 of them together. Looks wonderful. All right, so now we need to paint on the black for the invasion stripes. Carefully do that. As I said, I always do light coats of everything first. That's just how I like to do things. Light coats, then you darken them up. It gives the paint something to stick to. As well, that white base also really helps. You can see I forgot the white base there. Not going to have too much of a difference, but we're doing it. And you see some of the paint even flaked off. Not a big deal. You can put a little bit of dab of silver on that, and it'll look good. So that's the landing gear right there. You need to put a little bit of black on there. And then this is the rest of it going down, as you can see. Very simple. Just like that. Looks good. We will take off this wonderful masking so you can see what this all looks like. There are the invasion stripes. Did my best with the masking. Hopefully you do better than I do. They do come with decals if you prefer to use those. I chose to paint them. And you don't have to airbrush them. You could just paint them on by hand because, well, the real planes, they were painted by hand. So here, we are going to paint the tips and one of these cones. That is the Airfix kit right here, I believe. Or actually, maybe that's this is the 1/32 kit, because you see that little hole right there. They're very similar looking, and you see the tip is going yellow because it gets red stripes on it. This right here is the Airfix kit. The other one was the Revell 1/32. This is 1/48. And as well, that's also a 1/48 propeller. So you see what the kit looks like right there. That is the tip of that, because it comes like that, and that's what I forgot about. So you see all the yellow, how good it looks. Just spray it front and back as well. Remember, do the white from earlier. Oh, real quick, some little bit of assembling. Just had something to do while paint dries and watching grass grow. That was the Airfix kit, the wheel wells for the back, the landing gear doors, just where they go. So I am cleaning off the kit right here, making that look good, as well washing off the tin foil right there, the aluminum foil. We are going to put on our glue, and after the glue is down, I am going to take a little bit of water, mix it in with this cotton swab, and just do it like this, and you see how that all turns out. It's going to look very good when it's done. I put one full piece on this. I wanted to try to do it better than I did the other side. I get a little bit onto the wing where it curves, and we'll cut some of that out to give it the roundness. You see how I'm using that Q-tip there, a little bit wet, to get into that crack and the groove. Then we are going to get rid of this excess foil that you see is covering the entire wing. Maybe I could do that a little bit better, but you know, I'm still learning. So you see here, just going around the edge. We're going to have to go around it again just to trim everything up. But you get both sides of this. Then that's when you start working the Q-tip on and just pushing that foil down onto the grooves. So I've got a toothpick highlighting some of the accents in this. You see the flaps right there. This little hole oil, I assume, for the fuel. We're also going to cut out the area right here where the doors go for the, I forgot the words, imagine that. For the weapons, right there, the bullets, that's where they will go, right there. And then just kind of slowly buff that into it, burnish that in, get these little things right here that need to be burnished in, and we'll take a toothpick and we'll get the rest of the little details here so you can see that coming up and how good it looks. There it is. You got these little flaps, each one of them. Make it look pretty again. More model making madness. All right. So once we get this all taken care of, we're going to trim some of this excess away. And you see that I'm not the greatest at doing foil, but I am learning. So you're at least getting to see some of how this really works. So just lightly go along that edge, trim that off. That's what it's going to look like, just like that. Do a little more burnishing. See raised spots, fix them. Not a big deal, right? All right, so I've got some glue already laid out onto the tail. I'm going to press my foil in there. I'm deciding to do one section at a time. Anything that has a groove or a crease, we kind of try our best to do it in sections. That way it looks better. And you'll see the results of that when I'm done with these models. So I got the tail in. I'm going to cut right down the middle. I have a little bit of spot that I left there. Not a big deal. And we've got this. Trim away the excess. And if you do miss some of that, you can paint it silver. It's okay. It'll just be a little bit weathered. Taking off this trim portion right there. Now, one thing I did accidentally do was I cut off the area for the pivot that's my fingers on, and we will get that later though. So this is the curvature piece right here, a little bit harder to do. I burnished that in, and then I'm going to cut off the bottom of it. Then you'll see me here cutting off the top. And when that's done, it's got a little bit of piece on it that I left. Not a big deal. We're going to make that look good as well. Just have to take your time with it. You see, just like that. It's all shiny and pretty and metal. Buff it out a little bit. Try to get rid of those creases. If you can't, no big deal. Weather it somehow. Press it down flat. You'll make it work, I promise you. So that's the underside of that right there. We're going to do more of this. So you see I got that on the tail just like that. We're going to do the entire tail in this one piece. Just be careful not to hit the antenna. I break my antennas off all the time. It's just inevitable because those things are just on there. I like when the models make them separate so you can put them on very last. Otherwise you're fighting with them all the time. Burnish this down. This right here is where I cut out the piece for the tail. Just like that. We're engraving that in there. You don't have to cut anything out of it. You just have to make it show and highlight it, which is what we're doing. And you see how it's turning out really nice? That's the piece that I cut off right there. You see it? Perfect. And then you got a little extra bit of riveting there that you see how that turns out. So this piece I'm putting under the plane. Like I said, I'm showing you some of the areas that are a little harder to get. Burnish that in, meets right up with the stabilizer. Press it all down really good. Burnish it. Take your knife, cut it, do the best you can. That piece is done. We're going to show you a couple more pieces. That way you see how this is done. So I cut a hole on top of some foil, pressed it down onto the antenna. That way, because the antenna is right in the middle, that way we can get a nice even piece of foil there. This is how I did it. Yeah, you could choose to do it however you want. It'll be your model when you try to do it. Oh, and by the way, the reason I'm showing you this is to show if you think you're scared of being able to do this stuff, just try it. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of skill and a little bit of patience. And you just take your time with it. Burnish everything in. Use your toothpicks, whatever wood things you got. I use Q-tips. Just work slow. It's going to turn out okay. As one of my friends says, it'll be all right. You see how that's turning out right there. It's looking fairly decent. Got a little bit of excess there. We're going to trim that away. You just press some of this in with my finger, and you see the lines coming out in it. This is what it looks like. Cut everything out on each little panel line. Sometimes you could do 2 or 3 panels at a time, but don't go overboard. And you can see I had one already done right there at the bottom where it comes out. Just cut this off right here. That way, because that's excess, then we're going to do that one whole area. And this is what it looks like. It looks good. So we're going to put on one more, and I'll show you that after we get this piece burnished in here. And it will go right on the side there. And you see how it's all, the glue is dried. We put the foil on. You see how I got it cut to fit over the wing, just like so. We'll burnish it in, and we'll cut it out, and we'll make it look pretty as usual. As again, subscribe, comment, and like. Join us on our live chats. Thanks for watching, and as always, until next time, see ya.